So listen, folks, P.I.L.L method families, we're not saying I can't afford it.
Hmm.
In P.I.L.L method families, we're saying, how can we
How
afford it?
can we? Yeah.
Come on.
It's different. It's different.
It's,
It's
it's,
different.
it's way different. Okay. So here's what we're doing. Folks, I got a $200,000 mortgage here at 6% for 30 years and monthly payment of $1,199.10. Here's what the bank is telling us. If we keep this loan for 30 years, the bank wants $231,676 in interest on this loan. By no stretch of the imagination is $231,000, 6% of $200,000. When the bank wants you to prepay $431,676 for your house in a $200,000 neighborhood. Folks, what sense does that make? Because not only are you paying for the house, now you got to pay interest. So it's buying one house for you and one house for the bank. Is that why we signed up for this mortgage? Absolutely not. So here's what's happening. Interest paid as a percentage of principal, it is 115.838%. What? We're actually going to pay back more in interest than we borrowed in principal if we keep the loan for 30 years? Yes. Here is the amortization schedule, how it breaks down. At payment number one, we have $199.10 going to principal. Once we pay our mortgage payment of $1199.10, $1,000 of that money goes to interest. It does absolutely nothing for you. Only $199. So if you take a look at the principal payments, look at here. This is the column that you borrowed. Look at column number one. That's the money you borrowed. So you're paying your mortgage back at $200 a month, while the bank is getting nearly $1,000 every month to process your payment of $200. That's the interest. What is going on here? That is too much money. It slows you down. The interest is the anchor that's slowing you down. You got to drag that thing around. Interest is something you drag around that slows you down, and only $200 goes to the mortgage while you're thinking my $1,200 payment is actually working for me. So now we're going to subtract $199.10. We're left with $199,800.90. And now we go to line two, where we're paying $200.10 on principal for the second month. And we're left with $199,600.80. So the principal balance determines how much interest we pay on the next line. So let's take a look at what we've gone over before. How do we prepay principal? How do we save money that we don't have to give the bank? Here's what happens. Let's say our first mortgage payment is in February and January, and that means our February principal payment is $200.10. We've already discovered that we don't have to wait till February to give the bank that $200.10. We can give it to the bank early. By giving it to the bank early in the same month, we're still paid down to $199,600.80. But we're paid down to here in January, not in February. And when we do that, folks, guess what? We're on payment number 3 for February. And we got rid of payment number 2 for only $200.10. Payment number 1 is now touching payment number 3. So what happened to the $999 in interest on line 2? Eliminated, canceled. Okay. So this is cancel culture for your mortgage. I don't know if I can say that, but I did. Anyway, $999 canceled from the mortgage right here, right now. So what would happen if we did this? Paid the mortgage in January and in the same month gave the bank the principal payments for line 2, 3, and 4. What would happen to the interest cost on line 2, 3, and 4? Nearly $3,000 in interest canceled right here, right now. That's what's going on here, folks. That's what happens when we learn about interest cancellation. Our program is then going to figure out how much you're going to pay at any given time and not leave it up to guessing.
But Don has some valuable information that can contribute to the quality of a person's life. And it only costs you a few dollars. It's his book, Why not get that?
I'm going to go through the P.I.L. method myself with some of my investment properties. So I'm going to link up with Don, and then I'm going to sit down with him, show him my investment portfolio, and see how I can eliminate interest.